This is Stephanie Renée with another edition of WURD Backstage, our video series where we get a chance to speak to our luminaries as they are visiting Philadelphia and producing new works. And I am extremely honored to be sitting here with one of our living legends of aerospace, and certainly one of the folks that I first learned about as we became into a new kind of understanding of STEM or STEAM education, Colonel Guion Bluford. Welcome.
Good to be here. My pleasure.
And so I wanted to just say that this conversation that we are engaging in today is from a different perspective than about 30 years ago when you visited my high school in D.C. Okay. I was digging through my memories earlier this morning looking for the photo that I have of you in my school library where you were speaking to us about traveling to space, about the work ethic that it takes to be recognized and to be able to become an astronaut. And so here you are in your hometown of Philadelphia with a show being produced that talks about this journey for you. What is that like?
I'm excited about it. It's good to be home. I'm excited to see the program. I take a great deal of pride in being a Philadelphian, so I'm excited about the whole event.
And let's talk about coming from legendary Overbrook High School, because you are one of the people that has made this school so distinct in Philadelphia history for producing so many amazing folks from all different walks of life or career paths.
Well, I feel very honored to be from Philadelphia, from Overbrook. It's a high school that I was very pleased with. It was sort of the launch pad for me to go to Penn State. One of the things that I tell people all the time is the fact that I got a strong enough education out of Overbrook so that I could go to Penn State to be an aerospace engineer. So it was a great school.
And so, this is a great time to honor you and your accomplishments, because there are so many young people now that have a renewed interest in space because of the wonderful film Hidden Figures. And but that focuses on the women that were the backbone of the calculations of the program. Doesn't give us that inside story about what it takes to go through NASA, to be trained, and to actually make it into space. Tell us just a little bit about it.
Well, it was exciting for me. I came in '78. They had a fairly extensive training program, which was supposed to be for 2 years, where you learn to fly in space and all the academics and so forth and so on. And we went through that, and we did it in a year versus 2 years. And that prepared us to actually fly in space. But it required a lot of academics. It also gave us some familiarity with flying airplanes, to working in a large water tank so that we could walk in space in the spacesuits. So it was a full but exciting experience all the way around in preparation to fly.
And have you found that, in this era of this new consciousness about STEM education and this idea of more emphasis on science and technology, that there are younger students of color now that are legitimately considering what it would be to follow in your footsteps?
Yeah, every time I return to the astronaut office, I'm wondering, they're selecting younger and younger astronauts. Gee, am I getting too old, or are these people, whatever. But I think it's exciting from that point of view. And we had recently, they selected 12 astronauts, and one of them was a lady, a black lady, which is nice. So it just added to the pool of African Americans that have flown in space or will fly in space. The other thing that will occur is sometime next year we will fly a black woman on the International Space Station. Yes. So I'm getting real excited about that, and so we're making progress, but it's slow progress in many cases. But I think we need to continue to work hard at encouraging kids to look at the STEM courses, the STEM careers, because that really is the future for a lot of high-tech jobs.
Yes, sir. Well, outside of the academics of that, how would you describe what kinds of activities should young people participate in physically to begin to prepare them for the rigors of traveling to space?
Well, there isn't anything specific with reference to that, other than being in good physical shape and taking good care of yourself. But there's a wide variety of things. For instance, I was a racquetball player, a handball player, that sort of thing. There are other people who run. There are people who, like Ron McNair, was into judo, so to speak. So everyone has his own thing. But it's important that we learn to take good care of ourselves. And one of the critical aspects of being in the astronaut office is you have to get through a flight physical every year, and so you have to stay in good shape in order to get through that.
Yeah. And so, we have you being a first that we need to look to and represent the possibilities of people who are considering aerospace engineering, being an actual astronaut and traveling to space as legitimate careers, as a door opener for so much more of what that should mean. What are your thoughts about what the future holds for these positions? Because, there's been a lot of talk about budget concerns and where administrations are placing emphasis. But what do you think the future of space travel or exploration should mean for the United States?
Well, I think in the long run we will continue to have a strong program in the space program, and we will continue to make that discovery in space. We support the International Space Station right now. We're in the process of looking beyond Earth and the moon, so we're starting to look at all that. So I think there's a lot going on in that area. But also I think there's a lot of emphasis on just the technology. I mean, being scientists and engineers, even if you're not an astronaut type, you can be a scientist, you can be an engineer, and there are lots of exciting jobs in those areas. And one of the things that I try and do is encourage kids to look at all of those different areas, because those are a lot of exciting opportunities in those areas.
Is there a typical day for you these days in terms of what you are doing to still, encourage people to follow in your footsteps, or what you are doing now that your days in space are over, just to keep this conversation going?
Well, I encourage certain groups. There are certain groups that I support which encourage kids to get into science and engineering. I'm also involved with the minority engineering program at Penn State to support their activities as new students come into the science and engineering program. So I still do a lot of that. I do some public speaking with that regard, but I'm still very much an advocate for minorities in science and engineering, and I try to say that all the time.
Yes, indeed. So your story is going to be told through music and dance on the Mann Center stage. How does it feel to prepare to watch this story of yours come alive on a performance stage?
Well, I'm excited about it. I'm curious as to what they'll say and how they'll do it, all that sort of stuff. So I'm really pretty excited about it. I feel thrilled. I feel honored with reference to all of that. But I'm excited to see I'm looking forward to seeing the program.
Indeed. Well, we are excited to have you here to be able to share your personal experience, and we certainly hope that you fully enjoy seeing your life as it is manifested in a creative project on stage at the Mann Center. Very good meeting you.
My pleasure. Good to be here. Thank you very much.